All right, so we're talking about Netflix. Maybe it ends up on the Switch. Its content is very much what's driving the media feeding frenzy we've seen. Discovery bought Scripps Networks, Lionsgate purchase of Starz, AT&T Time Warner, and then, of course, we have the bidding war with Fox A, Comcast, and, of course, Disney. So we've got this changing, morphing media landscape. Who's next, and how are people's viewing habits changing under our feet right now? Author of Media Madness and host of Media Buzz on Fox News Channel, Howie Kurtz, joining us now, along with the Chief Investment Officer of Tigris Financial Partners, Ivan Feinseth. Tigris currently holds positions in Disney and Time Warner. Ivan, I'll first get to you because there's so much discussion about these mergers and how people are consuming media right now. Which one has the chance to really be the biggest when it comes to muscle in media and entertainment?
Well, I believe it's Disney. I mean, content is king, and Disney is the king of content. And they are king in a number of key areas, and the main area being action-adventure movies with the Marvel franchise and the Star Wars franchise.
Even if it doesn't win Fox and Comcast, perhaps wins that big prize?
I think Disney still wins. It seems that Rupert Murdoch is leaning more toward the Disney offer of a combination of stock and cash, and I think Disney could better maximize. First of all, the purchase of Fox would unite all of the characters for the Marvel Universe, which Disney, I think, could best maximize the value of. The reason that action-adventure is such a huge franchise, because those are the blockbuster movies and gross the most amount in the theaters, but also the halo effect of the licensing of toys, also the build-out of theme park attractions.
Gotcha.
And Disney can really maximize this, I think, the best.
Howie, my head is spinning. You've got theme parks, you've got video games, you've got Marvel characters, you've got all kinds of superheroes, and then, of course, there's the streaming, which is the 800-pound gorilla. I've upped it by 200 pounds here, but what is changing and who really has the opportunity to win and lose, I guess? I mean, are we going to be sitting in front of our TVs in 10 years?
Well, first of all, as a guy who grew up reading Spider-Man, I love this idea of uniting the Marvel characters, and it's such a zillion-dollar thing. I mean, look, it's no secret, and we in television are learning to cope with this slowly, that a lot of viewing is migrating online or to these hybrid where you can play games, watch what used to be called TV, and all of that. And I understand why these mega companies like Disney and Comcast want to grow bigger, and it is driven to some extent by companies like Netflix that weren't even a factor 10 years ago. But I think there's dangers here for the consumer in terms of pricing, and also AT&T, now that its takeover of Time Warner has been approved by a federal judge. It controls the pipes, the means of distribution. What if it favors CNN, which would be included in the deal, or HBO, makes those speeds faster and makes the competitor's speeds slower? There's a lot of thorny questions here as everybody tries to cater to the consumers and to grow even more gargantuan in size.
Well, it was the Trump administration, though, that didn't like net neutrality. So that is a whole different conversation about the fact that it said, fine, let anybody charge what they want to for the speed of the pipes. Ivan, scale. Is it the answer for every media company? And if so, what happens to... And I'm not calling Charter a standalone or because Charter's trying. Look, the big secret is that Charter is really trying to start its own. I guess you could say content, just like Netflix, just like Apple is trying to do. You've got Altice, which is out there as well. They bought Cablevision. Comcast, Verizon, Cox is not publicly traded. What looks good as an acquisition target, and where do we see future giants moving in with each other?
Well, I think as far as content acquisitions, I think Lionsgate and Discovery, and possibly even Viacom, because they do have good content. The Discovery documentaries are pretty, low cost to produce and can be shown over and over again and have a lot of value. But I still say it's action-adventure, which is why the Fox assets are so valuable and in play. And it's really about marrying distribution with content. And you have to have content because you could have all types of distribution platforms, but unless you have content, people are going to be staring at a blank screen.
Howard, as we finish up here, you've got three media giants. And we find this story very interesting. Bob Iger, Brian Roberts, and Rupert Murdoch. And I just wonder who gets the best legacy when it comes to if Bob Iger doesn't win it or if Brian Roberts doesn't. Does this somehow put years of success behind them? I don't like that theory.
I don't think any of these corporations are going to starve if they don't get the next big acquisition. I mean, these are huge conglomerates that have their tentacles in movies and online. But it's going back to your question briefly about how consuming content. My kids don't watch much cable TV. They're on their iPads. They DVR stuff. You know, people are becoming a lot more selective, getting it when they want. Netflix helped change that culture. And so there's a lot of adapting to be done, even by these companies as they get bigger and bigger, but maybe at the cost of some diversity of voices.
Yeah, and there are people here. Dagan. Dagan has managed to cobble together all kinds of things without paying for cable. It's fascinating. I need to learn how to do that from Dagan McDowell. Good to see both of you. Howie Kurtz, Ivan Feinseth, thank you so much.